Welcome back, Battletech enthusiasts. This lecture is going to cover the choosing which side you want to build up first. So I strongly suggest you get the 4th Succession War Scenario Pack. You usually can buy it on eBay pretty cheaply. And it's a 3025 scenario. 3025 is the easiest to start in because it's the lowest tech level. It's considered the minimum in human tech because the something called the Helm memory core hadn't been discovered yet by the Great Death Legion. So therefore, the losses of technology from the fall of the Star League have just increased as the houses have been fighting each other. So you basically have 5 houses to choose from, unless you want to try mercenaries or something like that. But the 4th Succession War scenarios, they kind of favor everyone except Marik. Marik only has one set of mechs, and that's you could go, if you really like Marik, you can go for them. Marik basically has purple mechs, and they're like this Austro-Hungarian nobility type. Kurita is they like the color red, and they are I would call them like a Asian, like Japanese, heavily Japanese influenced. You can also say some Chinese influence as well, but more Japanese. And they have like almost like a samurai lord type culture, a feudal culture, and the idea behind them is life is nasty, brutish, and short, but they have honor. Like every side considers itself the good side, whereas maybe some of the other houses, they don't really have as much honor as Kurita. Another one is Davion. I would color them like the yellow color if you want to consider mechs as having colors or a scheme or something. Although the Davion House Guard is actually based on ancient French history and has a red, white, and blue color scheme, but the Davion in general would be shown as yellow in the old, really old Battletech War game boxes. So I consider them yellow. They are the military, they're like the highly trained military, but they don't have a good industrial base type mechs. So they tend to use medium mechs a lot. And Kurita, by the way, uses a lot of small, light, almost like kamikaze type mechs. But they have a few big ones that they try to keep in reserve. So Kurita likes things like Jenners and Panthers. They're almost like in a kamikaze fashion. They come after you in large numbers and swarm you. Now, House Steiner is the exact opposite of House Kurita in their philosophy. House Steiner also has the biggest industrial base, and they're considered like the second wealthiest house. And they will almost exclusively use assault mechs, and specifically atlases. And there's even a running joke about 4 atlases being a Steiner scout squad, although it's technically a lance, but just to make it sound better, 3 S's, you say Steiner scout squad instead of scout lance. So they're going to always be the heavy mechs, and they consider any mech that's not an assault mech to be sort of like a wasted mech. Then there's going to be House Liao, which is more of a Chinese type culture, but it's kind of mixed in with a little bit of Russian culture too, of like Soviet style Russian espionage and intrigue. They're the weakest of the 5 great houses, and they basically have to use backstabbing and espionage to get their way. They're always involved in some sort of intrigue. And they're kind of hated by everyone, except Kurita gets along with them sort of okay. And finally, let's see, so that's pretty much a little touch on all the houses. and you can kind of pick which one you like more, which one you philosophically like the most. But if you just want to go for, and they're all pretty much equal, except a few of them don't use certain mechs, and a few of them exclusively use certain kinds of mechs. So, like for example, the Enforcer and the Vindicator are specialty mechs that only House Davion and House Liao use. Now, you can always claim that you want to use any mech with any house, because you can claim it's a captured mech. But really, it's those are sort of signatures, as well as the Atlas, which is sort of a signature for Steiner. So every house will have them, but certain houses will over-represent them. So you're sort of more in line if you follow those kind of schemes.